Hello, welcome to Jamie TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let me just stop this from playing here. Okay, I could do with adjusting this a little bit. Right, welcome to Jamie TV. I streamed, hang on a minute, I really need a new mic stand for it here. I streamed a couple of times last week, and then I haven't been able to stream for a few days because I had 3 gigs. So I was gigging Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and my thoughts were to get straight back to streaming on Monday. But then it occurred to me that I had a few other things that I needed to get done this week. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do is Monday I'm going to get stuff done, get stuff done that needs to be done, get it out of the way, and then from there on I should be able to stream I think I'm going to get a few days in a row. And then it occurred to me that Tuesday night I don't actually teach, because in my evenings during the week I teach guitar and bass and recording techniques and stuff. And it occurred to me that meant that maybe I could do my lunchtime stream and then do one in the evening as well, because I really, my aim last week was to get the project I'm working on for Songtember to a point where I could start laying down the guitars this week. But then this app came along, this AB PitchPad X, which I thought, I could see a use for that in my project. So maybe I could do a demo of it, how it works, and then show you how I'm thinking I'm going to use it in my project, right? And then I'll get onto the guitars. So later on this evening, I'll be streaming again, and I will be starting to get some guitars down. But for this stream, we're going to have a look at this wonderful new app. Now, let me see. If I go to what I've done, on the advice of the wonderful Jade Star, who is my kind of go-to person for all issues stream related, because as you know, I've certainly had my fair share of issues with it. Jade's advised me to use less cameras on screen at once and have more scenes. So I've done that, and that now means that my old iPad, which I use as a stream deck using OBS Blade, which might be in shot if I press this one. It's vaguely in shot over here. Can I just move it around a little bit? This is what I'm using as a stream deck to select my different scenes. So if I press different buttons, you see it gets all the different angles, right? Okay, so I was thinking that if I press, hang on, see this is what I was waffling on about. Is now I've changed all my scenes. The buttons are not where I'm used to. So in this stream, while I'm getting used to it, I'll probably keep selecting the wrong thing, which you'll just have to forgive me for. What can I say? So just let me know in the chat. Is the audio okay? Are the visuals all right? And whilst I'm waiting for you to do that, welcome to the chat. Hi, DJ Cthulhu and Mateus. Thanks for being here. And Mr. Weavebrain. Am I reading that right? Weavy Brain, it seems to say. I know who you are, but that I'm not quite sure how to say that username. All right, so thank you very much, Mateus. Thank you. Right then, so let's crack on. So AB Vortex X. Now, if I go over to, I just want to press something on my internet browser here, and just get this page ready for looking at, and then I'm going to press this button. Where's it gone? There. Right. Okay, so AB Pitch Shifter is a piece of software from Audio Brewers, and this is the description of the desktop version. Now, the desktop version is mighty. It has an incredible amount of features, but it uses an immense amount of processing power. And not all iPads would be able to cope with this. And also, it's a fabulous piece of software, and so it's worth a decent amount of money. So I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that, oh, look, I pressed the right button. I think that there are probably two reasons why the iPad version is a slightly cut down version. First of all, probably most iPads wouldn't be able to cope with it. And also, it's iOS users are used to paying less for software, so a slightly cut down version kind of makes sense. Having said that, the way that this app is, it's still absolutely wonderful. And the features that are included in the iOS version, from a personal point of view, having read up on the desktop version, it has what I would use from the app. So, when I was first offered a code for this app, I was not immediately immensely keen, because I am not the kind of person who is particularly drawn to pitch apps. I kind of thought that it might be, maybe a bit of a auto-tune type of app, which has no interest to me whatsoever. I'm not dissing anybody who uses it. It's just not interesting to me. But having had a bit of a play with it, I thought, this is a really useful app. This is something that I would definitely use, and so I want to demo it for everyone. So, what I'm doing is I'm going to do a demo of how it works, which is very straightforward. It's real easy to use. Even a stupid old hippie like me can kind of get the head around it real quick. And then I have this idea of how I could use it in my Songtember project. I haven't tried it yet. I'm presuming it's going to work. So once I've done the demo, I'm going to get stuck into that, and maybe it won't work. Maybe it'll be a complete disaster. Maybe it'll be like the worst streaming experience in stupid old hippie history. But we'll see, right? And if it does cock up, then, it'll be a laugh. Right, so let's get over to we'll have a look at my AUM project here. So this project is, and this is kind of in line with what Songtember is all about. This is a project that I started but didn't finish. The reason for that is probably because I made this project as a demo. I wanted to demonstrate a few apps for YouTube, and in a few of the videos I've made, this tune does appear. I've used it to demonstrate all of these apps that are included in the project. So let's just have a quick look what's here. So I've got Helium here, which is sending MIDI out on a number of different MIDI channels. That one there, that's going to my Unosynth, which is over here out of shot. Can I get it in shot if I use this camera here? Actually, yes, you can see it over here. It's not fabulously in shot, but that's it over there. Right, so when I send this MIDI, in fact, if I just, you probably see a note light up on it over here. So Helium is sending, yeah, you can see there, look. You can see a note light up on it over there. Just there. Right, let's just stop that a minute. Right, so go back to this shot here. There we go. Press the right button again. Go me. So I'm going to show you the routing for that, because one or two people in the universe might find it interesting. So I've got the Unosynth connected to my powered hub via a USB cable. Now, when you do that with the Unosynth to an iPad, it tends to create a little bit of background noise. It's sort of a hum. It's some kind of grounding issue. So what I've done is the audio out from the back of the Unosynth obviously needs to come into my iPad interface so that you can hear it. So I've sent the audio out to a very cheap Behringer DI box, and then it comes out of the DI box into the front of my iRig Pro Duo interface, and that eliminates that background noise, which made me very happy because it was really kind of pissing me off, if I'm honest. So if we look at this routing here, you'll see Helium here is connected to the Unosynth. Now, because it's connected by USB cable, it actually brings the name up in the routing. I don't have to type that in. It just automatically finds it. It comes up. So it's really easy to make that connection. So MIDI channel 1 from Helium is going out to the Unosynth. So all I had to do was make sure that the Unosynth was on, was set to MIDI channel 1, and it works. Amazing, right? And then we've got MIDI channel 2 is coming to this Pianotech piano, which I think is utterly fabulous. It just sounds absolutely awesome. And then we've got noises. Noises is appearing in all my projects at the moment because I'm making this kind of cyber metal, cyberpunky kind of soundtracky kind of music. It works in so many things that I do right now, and then we've got over here, we've got mini orchestra. Now I've kind of let GSI down a little bit on this because they very kindly gave me a code. I've demoed this on my Patreon account, but I haven't done an actual demo for YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep using it in projects because it's great, and just by using it, I'm going to let people hear it, and I'm going to find a few minutes at some point to actually demo it properly, which is actually going to be straightforward to do because it's not complex, but it is awesome. It's the kind of app, if you want to do that kind of thing where in fact, actually, I think it's particularly good for a live keyboard player, because if you want to do that thing where you just want to play some chords but have it sound like an orchestra, this is the ideal app for that kind of use case. Having said that about GSI, I have demoed quite a lot of apps from GSI. I think they're wonderful. I absolutely adore their apps, and all of these apps are being routed to Cascade over here. I just wanted one effects channel with this huge reverb sound. Let's just send everything to it, and in doing it in this way, I can use these controls at the side of these sends to determine how much of that signal is being sent to that reverb. Alright, so that is my project. Now normally, if I'm demoing an app, I would kind of start the show off by playing a project that's using the app. Right? But I thought it'd be cool for you to hear this project first without the app. And now I'm going to add it. By the way, I have some codes for this app, which I am giving away later on today on my Patreon account. So if you're not signed up for my Patreon account, now may be a very good time to do so. It's very inexpensive. You can basically pay more or less as little as you like, as long as it's like £1 or so. One shitter. Shitter's the word I use for like €1 or $1 or £1, £1. Does anyone abroad know what a quid means? We say a quid for £1 in the UK, right? So stop waffling, Ivy, and show them the app. Right, so Oh, and yeah, I should have shown you this, right? So the Unosynth is going into my interface, and so this is the Unosynth coming into the project here, and I've got Choric on it because the one thing that the Unosynth lacks is like modulation, and Choric is a stunning modulation app. Might be well worth having a look at if you don't have it, and have a look at my demo of it, right? And yeah, so I'm going to be giving some codes away for AB PitchPad X on my Patreon later on today. So the desktop software is called AB PitchPad, and the iPad sort of cut down version is AB PitchPad X. So before I add it into the project, what I need is I'm going to make a couple of adjustments to this project to make it suitable. So I'm going to go to Helium, and we'll go onto MIDI track 2. I'm thinking that this section of the piano part will make a good loop to demonstrate PitchPad with. So make my loop there, and I think I'll take sync off and just put loop on. So now I can play the piano part from within Helium without using AUM's transport controls. You'll still hear some of the other sounds. But what we're particularly interested in is this piano sound, because I'm going to add AB Vortex X here. Maybe I should use this view here. There. That might be helpful. Okay. There we go. Absolutely, Bo. I mean, Piano Tech, it sounds wonderful. It really is. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piano. And it's very versatile because you really, as you can hear hopefully in this piece, because I'm no piano player, but I've played this in live because I wanted that live loose feel. It's not quantized at all. I want this piece to be very, just very human, and I was able to get everything from the gorgeous softs. You know, you can hear all the articulation in there, and all the flaws in my playing. And then when we get later in this piece, there's a part that's played really heavy-handed, and it really comes through. It is a wonderful, wonderful piano app. Okay, so you know what I might do actually is just solo the piano without the reverb to begin with, right? I think that's what we'll do. It has its own reverb, which I've turned off because I wanted all the instruments to go to the same one. Right, so into AB PitchPad X. Right, a little bit of coffee. This is creamy caramel from Beanies. In my unofficial Queen mug from Skeggy Market. Right, so if I grab this node here, you'll hear the piano going up in pitch. And you can hear it's going up and down here in semitones. I can drag it down as far as 2 octaves. Just turn it up a little bit there. That's pretty cool, right? And we can go up 2 octaves. If we double click it, it will recenter that node. Now I can go into the left hand side of the stereo picture and right hand side of chords. Hi Kinora. It's really good for making sort of drunk piano player sounds. You know, it's the sort of app that you could really pissy pants around with all day and not get any work done, but just have a great time. Is that exactly? Whammy bar for piano. Yeah, it kind of is. And there's another feature that will take us much more into that territory soon. But let me not get ahead of myself like I normally do. Now, if I press this little keyboard icon over here, what it will do is, instead of moving up and down in semitones, oh, and by the way, take note, as I move this node, you'll see it does say underneath and on the node, when you let go, how many semitones you've moved. So, if you're like me and you like to keep track of things musically, rather than just simply experimenting and letting yourself go with it, because I am kind of tethered by that, I have to admit. You have that visual reference there of how many semitones you've moved. Right, but if I press this little keyboard icon here, now when I move, we're not moving in semitones. We're moving completely freely. Okay. Now, viscosity. I had to look this word up to get a full understanding of it. When I demonstrated the last app from Audio Brewers, AB Vortex X, which is a great reverb if you like to kind of stick your fingers into the music and experiment with it. It's wonderful to have that pad. And what I did with that app was I did this piece of music where I experimented with the reverb with my fingers, making changes to it, and I automated it, and I just kind of did it a few times, kept doing it until I sort of did a performance that I really liked, and then I saved that automation. Yes, a definite Les Dawson vibe. Yeah, but do people overseas know who Les Dawson was? I wonder. Let us know in the chat. Right, so if I turn up the viscosity, what it will do is it means that when I make a change to the node, with more viscosity, it will take longer to arrive at that change. So with the viscosity turned all the way down, a change happens almost immediately. Yeah, viscosity is sheer force physically. Yes, but I didn't know what it meant until I demoed that app. Right, so I'm going to turn up the viscosity and, let's just turn it all the way up to give a proper demonstrative demo. So you can hear the movement over time. Now that I like. Mateus, what do you mean you're not overseas? You are still in Poland, aren't you? Les Dawson was an old school British comedian, and he was also a pretty capable piano player. He was really a good piano player. But he used to do these really amusing sketches where he would play piano, and he'd be playing it really well, and then he would deliberately play out a tune, and he kind of come back into key and slip again. It's kind of hard to explain, but the way he did it was hilarious. And actually, to be able to play like that, to be able to play brilliantly and in key, and then kind of play bad notes on purpose, the way he did it must have taken some immense amount of practice. Oh, just a small C. Yeah, you're not really, massively far away in Poland. Okay, but you are like overseas. Right, so that's viscosity. And so we could, just set a lower amount of viscosity so that the change happens fairly quickly, but it's just a long enough delay for you to hear that happening. Now, tension is a very interesting thing. You mentioned whammy bar for piano, right? It kind of has that feel. What it does, it makes the pitch change sound kind of like a guitar with very loose strings. So if any of you have ever pissy-panted around with a guitar that has a proper whammy bar on it, you can push the whammy bar down, and it will dive right down, way down in pitch, until the strings are real loose and floppy. This kind of emulates that sort of thing. So let's just take all the tension off, and you'll see this graphic appear at the bottom. The less tension, you see more these lines, wobbly bendy lines appear at the bottom. Right, now as I move around now, we have a truly drunk piano player. So let's go with a more subtle loss of tension. Bit more viscosity now. Now, I'm already getting so many ideas of what I could do with this crazy app in an instrumental, it's just kind of a bit of a far out kind of a track. But I am actually just going to implement it in one day. So I'm not in one way. So I'm not going to start setting up a new AUM project here and kind of start making a track. I'm going to go to my Songtember track and apply it in one way, which may or may not work. Okay, so let's just reset the viscosity and tension while I show you this feature over here. If I press this button, now we have 3 nodes. We still have a node for the central core. Let's press this button and start moving in semitones again. Right, so this essentially is the node that we already had in the first place, but now I have separate nodes for left and right. Actually, there you've asked a question that's kind of caught me out a little bit, because I've been meaning since last night to check what parameters are exposed in AUM. Let's just do it now. Let's find out. Right. So we've got some parameters exposed here in AUM. So yes, you would be able to automate all of this. I did check whether the parameters are exposed in Logic for automation, and looks like the same list. So I've now got a right hand node, a central node, a left hand node. So let's just go to extremities, right? We'll have the left-hand node way over here, right-hand node right up here, and just put this in the center. Hey Jade, you demonstrated this app last night, I believe. Well, last night as in, UK time. And I've watched half of your demo. It was thoroughly wonderful. It was far more superb than mine is going so far. But it's fantastic to have you here. I was talking about you earlier and your advice. How's the stream with the new camera setup? Well, I'm kind of struggling to press the correct icons for the scene I want because I've moved everything. But other than that, I think it's okay. Let's just check through. There's my view with my overhead shot included. And this is the overhead camera on its own. I moved it forward a little bit so you can't sort of see my belly in the front of the picture here. I've got that shot. There we go. Side camera shot. Sometimes I lose this camera over here. Yeah. That I think is the cable. I think it's nothing more than the cable I'm using. So I'm going to switch that out later. But I don't need that camera for this stream. So as you can see, I have lots more scenes now. But I'd say it's going about sort of 85% well. And sometimes I even go straight to the right button. Right? So, a bit more coffee. Okay, so we can move these nodes around. So we've got like a left field pitch adjustment and a right field pitch adjustment. And we can still move the center around. Now I'm feeling an urge to start a new project and start getting some automation and stuff going on, but I'm not going to, because as I'm doing 2 streams today, I'm not gonna go on and on for this one. I'm going to wind up this demo in a moment and we'll get to the Songtember project, and let's see if my idea for this app is actually going to work or whether it's going to be a complete disaster. We'll see. There's one more control, which is this one here, and I forgot to look up what this one does. I think it's a gain control. For this stereo picture. I think that's what it is. Well, Jade's here, and Jade did an excellent demo of it, so maybe Jade can tell us. I just forgot to look that bit up. I don't think I've actually touched that knob before. Ooh. Right, now let's just, before I finish playing with this, let's just put the rest of the sounds back in. It is pretty cool. Right, so now if I go to helium and take the loop off, put sync back on, go back to the start. No, I didn't want that. I wanted this. an output volume. Thank you, Jade. I was sort of along the right line. Oh yeah, right, so because if I turn that down, do you think it also introduces a slight delay before the effect? I think maybe it does. Or maybe there's a slight lag in the effect because it's a pretty demanding app and I'm not applying it to real audio. Maybe it's that. Anyway, right. So, let's come out of this now. We'll get rid of that. Swipe that away. And we're going to go to my Songtember project. Remember to use your mouse, you stupid hippie. And we will go here. Open up the Songtember project. Right. Now, here's what I'm thinking. We have this section here. Now, if you were watching last stream, what I did was, using Blipbox and PhaseMonkey, I created a middle bit, right? Because I've kind of got this, it's an instrumental, but it's got a structure like a song. It's got an introduction, it's got, you know, the first bit, and then it's got a different bit, and we go back to the first bit, and then we go to the different bit again. And then I felt like it needed, you know, that middle section, something other, before we go into the big ending, right? And so we created this middle section. If I just play it from halfway through here, so you hear the new section and hear it going back into the main bit. Right, so there's a lot to be added to this yet. It's just kind of, I made a start on it. Speeds back up and back in. Now, when we go into that middle section, we go to a different key. The song essentially is in C. We go to C minor for this middle section, so it's quite a drastic change. And I want it to be like really miserable as well, this middle section. And it slows down. Let me just show you the tempo track. So if I go here, you can see we've got the tempo slowing down for this middle section and then speeding back up to take us back in. Now, what occurred to me is, although we're in a different key here, the last chord of this section, if I go to my editor, I believe is a G. If it's not, we might be, well, basically we might be fucked. Yes, there we have a G. And when we go back into the main section, this begins on a C. So I was thinking, oh, it's pre-delay, is it? I was kind of right then. I was very, sort of slack in the fact that I didn't look at it before or look at what it did, but I sort of kind of could hear that. So I'm going to give myself, 4 out of 10 basically for that demo. And thank you, Jade, for your help, and everyone else for your patience. Right, so it's a G here at the end of this section, and here it goes back in to a C. So my thought is, what if we used the PitchPad to raise the pitch of that G up like over a bar and a bit, whatever, raise the pitch up to C, and then the new bit, the main bit, kicks back in. I think that explanation was really poor. But, well, I know what I mean. I'll press on. So, looking at it, if I just zoom in, so there you can see that's the G there. That's the G chord. I'm going to give it more time to kick back in. That means making a few adjustments. So I want to make another bar here before this lot kicks in. So I'm just going to close the tempo thing for a bit. Make sure I've got all my instruments on the screen. Okay, I'm going to need to make a chop just here. Right, so scissor tool here, chop that bit. And remember to go and press trim again. Frequently forget that. Right, now I'm just going to lasso all of this. And we're just going to scoot it along one bar. Let's put it on snap to bar before I do that. There we go. Right. Now, this G now can press editor, use your mouse, stupid hippie. So now we want this G to last to the end of this bar. So now that we've got to zoom in on the actual chord, what I'm wanting is from here, from the beginning of this G, this will go up in pitch gradually, 5 semitones. By the end of this bar, it will essentially be a C, the first chord of the main section, kicking back in. In my head, this is going to sound awesome. If it works, and if it is in fact possible to do this with AB PitchPad in Logic, haven't tried it yet. We're finding out live. So as I said earlier, this could be the biggest disaster ever in stupid old hippie history. We shall find out live. And you know what? If it's a disaster, that's superb. You can laugh at me, I don't care. Right, so I'm coming out of here. Now, I think there's another adjustment I need to make, because the tempo I want to gradually speed back up and be back at the original tempo of the track right here. So what should the tempo be? Hang on. I want to double check that. Right, so it's 116 BPM. Okay, so I want 116 BPM to take effect here. So I need to press that to draw. Yes, okay. Got that. Right, and then we'll remove that one. And let's just hear what that curve is like. We'll be missing some drums, I believe, here. Right, I want it to speed up more like that, I think. Quicker towards the end. And I'm not going to make a rude joke about that. I'll leave that to your own filthy minds. Right, I'll close that out now. We are lacking some drums there. Now, what happens with the drums just there? I was quite happy with what I did with the drums there, and now I've spoilt it. I need to go further back and just listen. I like this bit. I like this bit a lot. Then it gets busy. Right. Okay. I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to... It's not that. Is it because I'm using the mouse? I'm doing something wrong. Oh, it's because, yeah. Like I said earlier, I left it on the scissor tool again. Right, so we're back to trim, and we've got copy on, and now, yes, there we are. Okay. Right, now I want to just join these two together. And then we'll go in and edit this. Get rid of these snares here. Really wish I could lasso with the mouse. Right, and then I want this tom pattern. How much of it do I need? I just want to copy that across. There. Okay, let's take a listen to that. Right. Okay. You wonder what pitch shifted drums would be like? Well, why not get the app and have an experiment? I didn't see all of Jade's demo of this app. I can't remember if during I don't think in the part that I watched Jade used it on drums. I know Doug did apply it to some drums in Hammerhead in his demo. So just check that out. It's sounds pretty cool. Right, now I need to concentrate here. So what we want then is we want to automate AB PitchPad X to move this up in pitch by 5 semitones, because just in case, you know, anyone out there is not entirely sure what it is that I'm wobbling on about, I need to get a keyboard in shot. Let's just, we'll select Phase Monkey there. Just grab this keyboard. There we are. Right, let's see if it's working. Okay, it's working. Good. Result. Right, now, if I go to my overhead view, right, okay, so some of you will already know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who may not, right, this is a G. And this is a C. Right, and every note included in this C is 5 semitones above every note included in this G. So in other words, if I go from this root note of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C, right? The major third of G, up in 5 semitones, is the major third of C, and the same applies to this fifth, right? So I can apply PitchPad to that chord and move all those pitches up 5 semitones, and that will make it into a C. Right, so let's add the effect. Before we do anything else, use the mouse hippie and select that camera. There we are. Right, so there's Phase Monkey, right? So that's the app that we're using for this sound. So right after Phase Monkey, I want to add an audio effect. AB PitchPad X. Now let's open it up. Now up here you'll see it's set to read automation. So that means that if there's any automation that is programmed in already for this app, it will read it. And if you, let's say you had some automation programmed in and you wanted to hear what it was like without it, you go here and just switch it off with this control here. Now I believe, if I remember correctly, if I press this under track, if I press touch, I should be able to play the automation in and it will record that automation. I've done it before and I think that's what I pressed. So I'm going to go with that. But I think I'll have a little experiment first. So let's just set up a little loop here so I can have a play with it. We'll go like this. We'll go a bar either side of the section so I can loop it round. And see, I went a semitone too far there. Hey Grant, thanks for joining us, man. You may be about to witness the greatest disaster in hippie history. We'll find out. Now, do I want this pitch to raise in semitones or freely? Let's pissy pants around with both and decide. When I actually do this, I'm going to do it with my finger rather than the mouse because I think, well, I just think I'll do it better. I'm using the mouse for now so you can see on screen what I'm doing. Right, so we'll take off the semitone restriction and now we're going to do it freely. Okay, that's somewhat harder to do, kind of bending a note in that way than it is on guitar, I guess, because I'm just not used to it. I think what I'll do is I'll record it using the semitone restriction and then I can go into the automation and I can adjust it afterwards. I think that's going to be the way to do it. So I'm going to put it back onto semitones for now. Right, so we'll reset it to standard. I'm going to experiment with that one more time. Right, now the thing is about doing this, fortunately, it doesn't matter if you make a complete arse of it. What I often do with automation is I can't be bothered with going down into, I'll show you. I can't be bothered with going down into, just press the automation button, into this section here and looking through all the things that you can potentially automate and then attempting to kind of draw it in, you know, with the dots from scratch. What I find is much quicker and a lot more fun is to just record it in like manually, and it doesn't matter if you make a total arse of it because then you can go into the automation manually and adjust it and make it perfect, make it exactly what you wanted it to be. It's just, I find that process, that approach, for want of a better word, is, well, it's just better. It's just better. It's easier, it's quicker. So I'm going to, I guess I can leave the automation setting on. Then we'll go to maybe PitchPad. I'll take the loop off. And I need to go from read automation to touch. I think that's the right setting. And then I'm just going to go for it. Reset this to 0 first. Right, now that is not at all what I wanted, but now that I've done it, I switch this back to read automation, go back to the beginning of that bit, and let's just see if it's recorded it. Did I press the right thing? It did. It recorded it, right? So it's shit, but it recorded it. Now, next step is to go to here. Right. No, I don't think that is. What else did it? Right, core pitch. That's it. Okay, so it's recorded a few things automation wise. PitchPad X. Maybe I deviated to the side a little bit. Maybe that's what that is. Holistic yaw. What would that be? I don't know. I think I might just erase those ones. I'm pretty sure that this one, core pitch, is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go to this and I'm going to erase these ones. So if I just go to here, right, I can just press on them and get rid of them. And I can go to this one. Right, let's get rid of them as well. I think I'm doing the right thing with this. I mean, I could be very wrong. And if I'm wrong, I can press undo. And Logic probably won't do the right undo because there's something very wrong with undo. Okay, core pitch. Now, so this is my chord here. In fact, we should play it. Right, so it is still going up in pitch. Right, so I did delete the correct ones, I think. Right, now, if I just... Oh, I'm going to press undo. Yes. I accidentally did a bit of extra automation on noises there. It's probably using the mouse. Let me just... I did it again with my finger. Okay, I wanted to just... Yeah, okay. Let's switch automation off. And... There, that's what I wanted to do. I'm not quite sure why that was so tricky. Okay, now we'll go back to us. It just gives me a little bit more real estate on the screen to work with. Right. So the chord kicks in right here. So that's where I want this increase in pitch to start. I'm not sure quite why it starts over there. I'm pretty sure I didn't do it that badly. Did I really play it in that badly? Can't use the pitch bend on the keyboard to do that. I haven't actually experimented with attaching a controller to PitchPad. That's an interesting thought. Maybe that's something I should have a look at later and come back to you on. I don't know. Not sure, because now if we were in AUM, I don't know. You see, in Logic, it's kind of difficult to map stuff. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to map stuff to specific controls. There are some things that you can map, but it's not like mapping in Cubasis or AUM. Hopefully, it'll get there with the next update when we finally get one. Apple. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I recorded in the pitch bend. I made an arse of it. Now I'm going to tidy it up in here. I don't want this at the end. I don't want it to return to normal pitch. So I'm going to go to right, delete that one. Then I think what I'll actually do is delete all of them. All I want is the starting pitch and the end pitch, I think. I think that's all I need. So we'll just get rid of these. All right. I do this, there, makes it a bit clearer. Right, now this, I want to move over to here, at the beginning of this chord, maybe, oh, take snap off, so I can do this freely. I'm going to delete that one, because I've accidentally created a new node. Right, let's just move this across a little bit. I don't want it to be absolutely at the beginning of the chord. We want to hear that G before it starts to raise. I don't seem to be able to do this without creating new nodes all the time. Right, then at the very end of the chord, we want that pitch. Right, let's just see what this sounds like. Right, so you can hear that stepping up. You can hear that stepping up in semitones. So if I now go to the app, gotta hope this works. If it doesn't, I'm not sure what my next move is. Right, so now we take off the semitone restriction. Maybe if I had that loop back on. Yeah, and... You can still sort of hear it going up in steps. Not. What would happen if I took the tension off? Right, the tension affects the sound anyway before the automation kicks in. Okay, right, so it works, but I thought that it would move smoother than that. You can hear the increments as it's going up, even though it's not set to semitones. So maybe what I should have done is I should have had this happen quicker. Maybe I shouldn't have extended this chord out. If it happened quicker, then maybe it wouldn't be quite such a... I don't want to hear the steps quite as clearly as that. Let me just have a think about this. If I go back to here, let's have a look at the tempo. Right, I'm going to need to drag this back now. Okay, right. So have a look at the tempo change. Right, there's my tempo change. What if the tempo change was more like this? There, right? That's what I wanted. You can sort of just hear it sort of soaring out. Maybe because the tempo change that I had was it was like slow and gradual, and then it suddenly shot up. Maybe that's what was making those increments so obvious. But that that's what I wanted. I'm kind of pleased with myself because it was an idea that I didn't have time to test before streaming. So I'm just really pleased that that worked out. One thing I must just stress, when I first started experimenting with making automation in this way, because if I'm honest, my problem is because I kind of struggle. I kind of struggle with reading manuals and columns of information. Long strings of detail. It's hard to explain, but I find it very, very intimidating. Looking through, when you're working in a door, if you've ever used a sort of fairly advanced desktop door, when you start looking through automation possibilities, there's so much to look through, and it always seems to be kind of not particularly well labeled, and I find that stuff really, really difficult. So when I started to want to dive more into automation, I came up with this idea. Well, maybe if I simply do the automation myself, if I just play it live, then when I go into the automation, I'll be able to find the lane very easily where it's being recorded, and from there it should make much more sense. And that's worked for me incredibly well. When I first started doing this in Cubasis 3, though, what I did was every single time I would set it up to record the automation. Then I would record it in, and then I would play it back and forget to take record off. And so you just keep recording more and more automation over automation. And then you realize, well, why is it going? Oh, I've still got record on. Right. So remember, once you've done it manually, then go here to where it says automation and make sure you've taken it off touch and put it back to read. And then all will be right with the world. Yes, keep your tempo changes linear and you'll get that nice smoothie thing, right? I'm so pleased with that, honestly, I can't tell you. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this stream here because I've shown you the app and I've done with it what I wanted to do. And I'm streaming later to get stuck into some guitars. So I'm going to kind of get on with getting prepared for later on's stuff. So I was just going to switch my scene, and OBS Blade has crashed. It does this all the time. It just shuts itself. Like, why? I'm asking you to do one job, old iPad. Okay. Right, so thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you for joining me. I've had fun, and we'll have some more fun later on. I'm just going to get this ready to play us out. So what I'll do is, before I end the stream, I'm just going to play what I have so far for this track, and later on we're going to add some guitars to it. All right, so have a fantastic few hours until I see you again. Make lots of music, take care of yourselves, be good people, and try not, until later, piss your pants about. See ya.